I pretty much just worked around the house. Yeah, I just want to work on my projects. Since I just got back from a great trip, I need to take care of a few things here at the shop this morning. Aaron Kaufman had a terrible accident that Fast and Loud fans did not see coming. The show's amazing car builds were all his idea. He made old wrecks look brand new. Following that, he left without giving any notice. Nobody said goodbye or gave a reason. There was just a blank place where he used to be. Why did he leave everything he worked so hard for? Watch now to find out why the CIA began to look into his family and friends after he disappeared on short notice. What did Gas Monkey Garage really do? Why would someone leave a hit show where they were so important? It wasn't just any job. Custom builds, getting to be artistic, and being a part of a TV hit were all things that any car guy would love to do. Why leave? The truth about why he left isn't as easy as you might think. You'll never look at Fast and Loud the same way again after hearing it. Before we go any further, it's clear that Aaron Kaufman's situation was much worse than anyone thought. This isn't the only thing that will amaze you. While he wasn't the first person to leave Gas Monkey Garage, his exit was different. Tom Smith and Jordan Butler had already left before him. Their leaving did make people look twice, but it didn't really change things like his did. We'll take off the metal and buff it up, leaving it as is. We'll also take off all the stickers and other junk that's on it, as well as the winch on the front and the tube grill that's attached to it. This way, it will have a stock grill and bumper up front with no winch. He was in the middle of everything, unlike Tom and Jordan. He was not like any other mechanic. He was the most important part of the whole plan. His skills, his love, and his power to make Richard's crazy plans come true. He was too good to replace in every way. People knew something wasn't right after he left, though. Fans started looking for solutions right away. Something more important than just wanting a change had to be the reason. Speculation began to spread. Some said it had to do with money. Some people said that he and Richard were having problems. But here's the thing. People who leave a big show like Fast and Loud rarely tell the public the truth. Stories always have more to them, and things are much more complex than anyone thought they would be. On the surface, Fast and Loud was a well-oiled machine for many years. From the outside, it looked like he and Richard got along well. But what happens behind the scenes? Not really. It had been getting worse for a long time. There were tight schedules, non-stop filming, and a lot of pressure to make builds that were too big. He was beginning to feel tired. It was no longer about the skill on the show. Making flashy cars as quickly as possible was the goal. That's what was wrong. He thought about the little things. He meant for things to be done right and slowly. That wasn't the point of Fast and Loud. And it got too much in the end. Control is another big problem. He was more than just a worker. He was very good at making cars look good. He wasn't in charge of Fast and Loud, though. Richard was the star of the show, so everything he said was taken seriously. I don't usually do these, so I hope it goes well, but we're talking about a rare car here, Damon's F12, so I hope it works out. So, I believe the last time you saw it, we were getting ready to make heads. There are many reasons why this car is hard to understand. We are going to talk about some of them. That wasn't important unless Richard agreed that the build had to be done a certain way. And the trouble coming up with ideas got worse as the show grew. He wanted to be free. He wanted to build cars the way he thought they should be built, without being watched by TV directors. He knew he had to leave Gas Monkey because that was not going to happen there. Even though all of those reasons were strong, there was still one more thing that made him snap: burnout. It's hard enough to work on cars without having cameras pointed at you all the time. That's a whole new level of stress. He had been barely able to keep going for years, and he finally gave up. He wasn't having fun. He was losing the drive that made him great at what he did, and he knew that if he stayed, he'd hate what he loved. That was the last straw for him. He left one day. There was no big news or emotional goodbye. It was just a clean break. And some fans were really sad, but others got it. You have to leave something sometimes, even if it's working, if it's making you unhappy. What then took place? Things get even more interesting after that. Aaron didn't just run away after leaving Fast and Loud. He began a brand new project that was uniquely his own. There were no producers, no due dates, and no rush to get a part. Having his own shop gave him the freedom to work on cars however he pleased and at his own pace. The best part? He was already well known without Fast and Loud. Fans went after him. They were excited to see what he would do next, and he did it. He started his own show and was in charge of it this time. It was one thing for him to leave the show, but what happened between him and Richard afterward made everyone doubt everything. What no one saw coming. He did well on his own, but there was still one big question that nobody knew the answer to. How about Richard? Their work together over many years had helped them build a huge business. Was there a fight? Did they get along at the end? Who you ask will tell you that. Richard has always said in public that he doesn't feel bad about leaving and that he knows why he did. The truth isn't as clear when people aren't around. It's hard to believe that such a strong relationship could end without any anger. Let's be honest. If things were going well between them, wouldn't they have seen each other again at least once? Fans still don't agree on what really happened between him and Richard. Some people think they've just grown apart. Some people think they had a fight that they don't want to talk about. One thing is for sure, though, no matter what the truth is, his leaving changed quickly and loudly for good. The show went on without him, but it was never the same. His skill, his energy, and his love for the work were things that could never be duplicated. There's something wrong with the way things happened. Tom and Jordan didn't choose to leave, that much is clear. Fans can act like it was all part of a bigger plan, but the truth is that they were thrown out. Even though the show is still going, it's like trying to drive a power car that doesn't have an engine. There are always new people, but that spark, that raw energy, is gone, and everyone knows it. Tom finally told everyone what was going on, but not in the way that everyone thought he would. When he talked to TMZ, you could almost hear the stress in his voice. He told a different story than what was being said, which was that he was leaving to start something new. In fact, Richard Rawlings, who runs Gas Monkey Garage, fired him in Jordan. Why is that? Because of a picture. It wasn't just any picture, though. They made a mistake that cost them everything. He takes very good care of his Rolls Royce, which he loves very much. It's the most important thing to him. His award. Most rich guys collect cars like kids gather baseball cards. They start out as fun, but after a while they lose their glow. Both Tom and Jordan knew what it was. I know for sure that when Aaron says something, it will happen. You're not going to stand by him. Even if he's wrong, you won't change his mind. We know he's serious. They thought Rawlings was just another guy who liked cars and would soon move on to something else. It turned out they were completely wrong. Their careers were hanging by a thread after one easy choice and one moment of not thinking twice. Someone with fibrosis who was a fan came to the garage just to take a picture. It didn't look dangerous. Let the guy take a picture with the rolls. It will make his day. Now move on. Not a big deal, right? Not right. When Rawlings saw that picture, he lost it. He lost it, yelled and cursed, and was entirely too much. As Tom stood there, he probably thought, this can't be happening right now, but it was, and things were about to get worse. In most jobs, you have to be quiet when your boss gets mad if you want to keep your... But Tom wasn't going to let it go. He snapped back, and there was no going back after that. Jordan stood by him, which made things worse. Her Rawlings, who was already very angry, made a quick choice. He fired both of them right then and there. That's it. They were not there. There will be no talks or second chances. They were part of Gas Monkey Garage for a moment. 1 minute they were strangers. There were a lot of rumors going around. Some said that Tom and Jordan had left to start their own show called Misfit Garage.